YouTube! Today I got a special series planned for y'all. We're going to take our first look into NIKKE, Goddess of Victory. I got some early access, first impressions, and I'm going to tell you all about it, what I found, what I loved, and if you guys need to be trying it out and joining me on this journey, as I'm so excited. Now, this is a sponsored video. However, I've been following this game for a very long time, always keeping up to date on when it's coming out, any updates, all that, since the start of this year, maybe even earlier. At the first time I looked at it, I knew it was a game I at least wanted to try, and now that I've given it a chance, given it an actual gameplay test, read the story, did a little bit of the campaign, boys, I can't wait to tell you all about it. So buckle in. This is just going to be a first impression video. We're not going to really deep dive into the content per se. We'll have future follow-up guides on min-maxing, tier lists, all that good stuff. You already know. But I just want to tell y'all, maybe sell y'all in a little bit and get y'all on board and trying it out with me. So let me share with you all the stuff I learned to love about NIKKE, Goddess of Victory. Let's check it out. Now, real quickly before we begin, let me give y'all just a brief introduction on what Goddess of Victory NIKKE is all about. NIKKE is an immersive sci-fi RPG shooter where you recruit and command various maidens to form a beautiful anime girl squad that specializes in wielding guns and other unique sci-fi weapons. You'll command and collect girls that have unique combat specialties to create your ultimate team. Experience next level shooting action with simple yet intuitive controls while enjoying dynamic battle effects. So what did we learn from that intro, guys? If you're a fan of sci-fi, post-apocalyptic settings, sci-fi RPG shooting collection, hero collection, waifus, all over the place, NIKKE's probably got something for you if any of that sounds interesting at all. Let me sell you on it a little bit, and let's first talk about the combat in NIKKE. First things first, let's talk about combat, as this is one of my biggest questions on whether NIKKE would be able to hold my attention, as even though the visuals look amazing, the characters look so good, that might be enough for some people. I need some engaging combat, engaging gameplay that'll keep me coming back to it over and over. Now, the very beginning of the tutorial, teaches you the basics. It is a shooting game, so there will be a crosshair, guys, but don't worry if you're terrible at shooting games, it is very forgiving. There is kind of like an auto aim assist. You do need to drag and, aim somewhat. And then depending on weapon types, we might get to that later. There might be some advanced controls, but overall super simple. If you ever play like Time Crisis 2, there's like a cover mechanic. That's going to be how you reload. But overall, the combat in the very, very beginning was already enough to kind of keep me interested. It's fun enough. And you can tell that there's going to be some depth later on as you progress through the missions. You get more squad members, more weapon types, like I kind of referenced. You start with an assault rifle. They give you access to rocket launchers, snipers, shotguns, all the different stuff you're going to need to fight different sort of stages, tackle different bosses. And I've heard the combat can actually get extremely, extremely difficult when you get later on. So there will be some min-maxing for those of you that like that kind of difficult PvE gameplay. Now, there's two features of combat that I want to talk about just real briefly. I didn't get too far into the game. I'm trying to wait until official release to experience the full thing with you guys. I want to spoil myself too much. And so I haven't gone far enough in the story to really see how deep the rabbit hole goes and how difficult the PvE, the actual gameplay combat gets. But for anyone wondering, I'll maybe answer this question. There is an auto feature in the game. Now, there's two different types of auto. The first one being it'll activate your burst skills, and I'll get to that, what that means in just a minute. The second is, of course, a full auto feature. So there is a full auto, meaning the AI will control all your squad. You can even watch them shoot. They swap between, they'll use all their skills, the full Monty. That being said, I expect it to be like some other mobile games where, depending on how difficult the content you're doing, if you're trying to clear a boss for the first time, you may not be able to full auto every stage because it can get difficult. There is a lot of input needed in terms of, using skills on a certain order, or swapping between your units, or protecting yourself utilizing the cover. I'm not sure how good the AI gets unless you overhear the content. Now let's get to the burst part real quick, the burst mode. We won't take too long on it, but burst mode is essentially an extra layer of skills in the game that make it even more exciting. This is where like the special animations come in, your special unit skills, and on top of that, there's an extra layer where you want to use these skills in order and in tandem. What that means is you'll start with any character's burst. You just pick one. They'll do their special effect, either a buff, a nuke, whatever it might be. And then you want to activate quickly after that a second burst. And that's going to activate you into burst skill level 2. Then guess what, guys? You already know you activate a third burst from any other third character in your squad, and you get into burst level 3, and that's going to give you a gigantic buff to your whole squad, where you get to like auto attack, or not auto, but you get to sort of control all your units in unison and burst down important enemies, bosses, or just, if you're struggling to finish the stage in time. There's a lot of extra skills, and that's where it looks all pretty. It gets chaotic, but it like gets that dopamine rush, and you are just going ham. super, super fun combat, at least in that regard. But I'll let y'all know in the future in terms of how the gameplay gets past, just the early stages. Moving past the combat, guys, this is actually one of my favorite features of the game, which I never thought I would say. It's actually the story and the dialogue, the writing. Now, in almost every other mobile game I've played, let alone just any other video game I've played, the story is almost never really the primary attraction for me, as I am kind of somewhat of a story skipper, at least in some RPGs. There are exceptions. If it's a very story-driven game, of course I'm going to be reading it. But in a lot of these kind of action games, farming games, collection games, I'm definitely a story skipper. Now, for NIKKE, I was absorbed from the get-go. I was listening to it. I was reading it. I was very invested in to see what was happening. And the payoff, guys, at least for the first campaign, was huge. I don't want to overhype it too much, but hopefully y'all will agree with me when you do finally get your hands on the game very, very soon. So the story, the voice acting, the writing, all very, very nice. So speaking of the voice acting, this is probably one of the biggest selling features to me about NIKKE, and that was the entire game, or at least the first part of the campaigns that I played, which was about, I think around an hour total. I didn't skip anything, a whole hour worth of gameplay story mode campaign, and a lot of it, or all of it I should say, was voice acted. So that was absolutely incredible. I haven't played another gacha game like this that was fully voice acted, and now I want it for almost all the other games I play. I think that would definitely get me more into the story, get me more attached to all the characters. It definitely brings life to these kind of collection games, and very, very well done to NIKKE for that. Now, speaking of well done as well, guys, this might blow your minds, but I kept it on the English dub. I know.
You said your name was Marion? What branch are you from?
I belong to Silvergun. I'm a machine gunner.
In terms of anything anime, y'all hate dubs. I bet a lot of y'all, it's definitely the popular opinion that the Japanese dub is always better, or for this game, Korean dubs, whatever the native language is usually the way to go. But English was done well enough. Now, if you guys want to try out the Korean and the Japanese voices, I'm sure they are top tier, like in most other cases. But the English was done well enough. Surprisingly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, moving past the voice acting, boys, one of the craziest things here was the fully animated cutscenes. I'm not just talking about, in between every story mission, you have the characters and they introduce themselves, they talk to each other, they might change their facial expressions. Guys, I'm talking like you're watching a straight anime. Has anyone have y'all ever seen the show 86? I think the setting is very similar, and I got some hardcore 86 vibes. Just anything, post-apocalyptic, maybe a little bit of mecha, a little bit of sci-fi, whatever it might be. You imagine something there. The fully animated cutscene, I hope there's more, but the first one I saw, guys, blew me away. I was in love, and I was so invested. I don't want to spoil, I don't want to overhype. Just let me know when y'all get there. By the time y'all watch this video, NIKKE, I think, should be out by then, so please share and let me know if you felt the same way. But story, voice acting, writing, guys, so underrated for me in other games, but in this one, I think one of the major selling points, even more so than the good combat. So all in all, boys, we have some amazing looking characters, high quality art, simple and intuitive, yet having some depth in the fun combat. Even if you're not the best first person shooter, we have an amazing post-apocalyptic world to explore. And like I said, the story, cutscenes, animations, gorgeous. So the game officially goes live on November 3rd. It could be live already by the time y'all are watching this, but this does wrap up my first impression video. Come join me on the NA server. I hope I convinced some of y'all that were on the fence to join. The rest of y'all that were hyped from the get-go, can't wait to play with y'all. Don't forget, there's some awesome launch rewards, up to 110 free pulls, 2 popular SSRs, 1 popular SSR. There's a ton of free stuff. Don't miss out. And add the CD code. I'll put it on the screen. NIKKELUV. CD code, CD key, all that good stuff, okay? Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Can't wait to play more NIKKE streams, videos, all the good stuff. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.